So this is the iPad mini 7, and after using it for well over a month, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. On one hand, it's a great, portable, cute little iPad. On the other hand, there are one or two things that Apple could have made better to make it the perfect iPad mini. And if you're on the fence of thinking of getting one, what will you use it for? And if you're a professional like me, how and will you get the most use out of a device like this? So in this video, I want to break down 6 things that I think are great about the mini, and 2 things that are not so great and you may have to compromise with. So let's start with the most obvious thing to like about the mini, and it's the size. But let me show you how small it is, because it's quite hard to show you on camera, and I can show you the dimensions on the screen. But to put things into perspective, if I grab this book, it's about the size of a regular book. If I just put that on top, and if I grab a A5 notebook, hopefully you can see that it's much smaller than an A5 notebook. And also if I grab a regular iPad, you can just see the size comparison. This is the iPad Air and how small that is. Thickness wise, let me just show you how thick it is. I have a very small rig SD card holder, and if I prop that up, you can about see the same thickness of the iPad mini. And I think that's what makes the mini a great travel portable device. It's great for those scenarios where you have a long commute or you're going on holiday and you don't want to carry a laptop or your regular size iPad, but you want a slightly larger screen than your regular phone, for example, and you can catch up on a book, watch a video, or do an online video course. The iPad mini is great for those situations. The other great thing about the mini, or an additional use, is it can act as a secondary screen. Well, you'll need a Mac and be part of the Apple ecosystem, but it works great as a secondary display with Apple Sidecar, especially if you are on the go. No lags, very responsive, and activating it as a secondary screen is very easy. I use it to display a music player, and sometimes I have some metrics or monitoring software releases whilst I'm working. It's perfect for small and glanceable tasks without taking too much space on your desk and workspace. You'll probably need to have it plugged in though if you're using it for long periods of time, otherwise the battery will drain quite quickly. Or if you're into content and video creation, the mini can act as a pretty good external monitor for your camera. You will need a compatible camera app, and that works with the mini as well. Or for those odd times you'll want to work with, say, a Raspberry Pi temporarily, it acts as a great temporary monitor. And because of its smallish size, it's great for reading books, whether it's at home or on the go. It's not as small as a Kindle, and it's not too heavy to hold for long periods of time, and great for catching up on the odd TV show or watching a few YouTube videos. And a quick note on the speakers, I find them surprisingly good. I didn't expect so much depth or oomph from a small device like this, but Apple have put some effort into the speaker department, so that's a nice plus for the mini. I was also surprised by the performance. Now, it's no fancy Apple M1, M2, M3 chip that you find in the other iPad models and Macs. It's the A17 chip, which also powers the iPhone 15 Pro. It's nippy, multitasking is fine, and if you find yourself needing to do a bit of work here and there, it's more than capable. Heck, if you fancy doing some photo editing and video editing, you can do it as well. You'll just be limited by the screen size. Just don't expect lightning speeds from the device. And a quick thing about battery life. As you know, it all depends what you're doing. The more you use it, the more often you're going to need to charge it. But I find myself charging this maybe once or twice a week, depending on the usage. For those times I use it a lot, I'll charge it every couple of days. Those times I'm just using it to read on the Kindle app, I won't need to charge it for 3 or 4 days. And there is a setting on the iPad for the 80% charge limit. If you're interested, I did a video about the battery life for the iPhone and the 80% charge limit and why you want to do that, or why you may want to do that. Feel free to check out the video in the top corner there. Let's talk about the annoyances with the mini. Well, it's 2 things, but it's the same area of category. And it's the screen. For one, it's not very bright, even with the brightness all the way up. Let me just check the brightness is all the way up. It is. But I did sort of resolve it or improve it by reducing the white point setting or turning it off completely. And the screen is a little bit brighter. And 2, it's the same liquid retina display, just like the previous iPad 6th generation and all the other regular iPad models. It's only the iPad Pro models where you'll find that sweet 120Hz OLED Super Retina XDR display. I think that's what's missing from the mini and the other iPad models. And I think if Apple did put the fancy 120Hz display on the mini, wow. Take, for example, this retro pocket gaming device. This thing blew me away. Because of that, sexy OLED screen. Absolutely amazing. I think if the iPad mini did have 120 Hz display, sales will shoot off the roof, and a lesser reason to purchase the Pro models altogether. So I don't think Apple will do that anytime soon. And the bezels would have been nicer if the bezels was a bit slimmer. And don't expect web browsing to be the best either. Depending on the sites you browse, it can be a bit limiting. Usually the dedicated app, you'll have a better experience, but it's fine for everyday browsing now and then. And sometimes when the on-screen keyboard comes into play, it can take a bit of the screen space. And that's the thing with the iPad mini. It's not perfect. And who is this device aimed at? Students, professionals, kids? What's its primary use? And did you know Apple do not sell an official keyboard for the mini? No, they don't. They sell the smart folio case, but no fancy magic keyboard. You can of course get a third-party Bluetooth keyboard, but it's not going to be the same because you know the hardware will not pair well together. And I think that's sort of a hint. Apple are not expecting you to do a lot of work on the mini or endless typing, because they probably know typing on a size like this for long periods of time is not a great experience. And with that, I think in my view, the mini is not primarily for work tasks. It's great for content consumption for 70–80% of the time, reading books, watching videos, browsing the internet, checking emails. But for that time, when you're traveling out and about and you need to do a bit of work, maybe a few work emails, jump on a Zoom call, that other 20–30% of the time that you don't have or want to bring your laptop with you, you can still get things done on the mini. I think that's the ideal use of the mini. It's a hybrid, small, portable, fun media consumption device. But for when the moment calls, it can still handle workloads, giving you just enough to get things done. All right, what do you think of the iPad mini 7? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you use it primarily for? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.